You're listening to an AINC original podcast. We believe you don't have to do life without a compass. Let us be your guide on this amazing journey. Welcome to Navigating Life with Vision Loss.
Hello, I'm Kim Wardlow. I'm your host for Navigating Life with Vision Loss. And we are now in the month of June and talking about adapting to vision loss, because people lose their vision at all different ages and need to adapt. Not everyone grows up learning all the skills they need. So we're going to talk this month about adapting to vision loss, and starting the month with a 2-part series called Facing the Future, Understanding and Coping with Early Stages of Vision Loss. And I'm really excited for these 2 episodes because Rebecca Shields is with us, and I've known Rebecca for forever, probably for 20 years or something like that. And I ran into her at the 50th anniversary, 50th birthday party for the Colorado School for the Deaf and Blind in April, and kind of reconnected. And she's been working in this area for many, many years. So I'm very happy to have Rebecca joining me today. And this is part of what AfterSight really wants to do for folks, is to be able to help connect people. We don't ourselves have all the answers, but through our podcast, we're hoping we can provide you information as you're living life with vision loss, and connecting you to other resources as well that may be of help to you. So I think that's a big part of what these 2 episodes are, really giving you some information from someone who has both personal experience, life experience herself with vision loss, as well as helping others as they're adapting to vision loss. So Rebecca is a native of Colorado. She was born prematurely and ended up with too much oxygen in the incubator, which left her with glaucoma and vision loss right as a baby. And at age 5, she started her education at the Colorado School for the Deaf and Blind. She's worked in a variety of areas since she was 16. She holds a graduate degree in mental health counseling with an emphasis in social work. Rebecca is the mother to 5 adult children and 5 grandchildren. In 2008, she became the founder and owner of New Vision Professional Services, providing education, social emotional support, orientation and mobility class, and more to the blind and low vision community. They assist individuals who are struggling with vision loss, acts of daily living, and who want to continue the quality of life that they've had. Rebecca is a member of both business and personal organizations at every level, city, state, and national. It's not what you see, it's how you see it that matters. So welcome, Rebecca. I'm glad to have you with me today.
Thank you, Kim. I'm happy to be here.
So, and I know it's a little bit tough because people, as I said, lose vision at different stages. Sometimes you know right away it's an accident or it's something that's caused the vision loss and it's a sudden thing. But frequently, especially with many of our listeners who are older adults, it's something gradual. Are there signs people should look out for, or signs maybe in children? Obviously, in your case, you were very young and they knew right then, but signs that people should look for in terms of the first signs of vision loss?
I believe that there are signs that often lead people to seek help, either with the licensed ophthalmologist, or perhaps sometimes people don't know where to go to find a good eye doctor. So talking with another professional in the field, or getting help through an organization sometimes can lead you to some answers. I've worked in this field of human services now for about really about 45 years in many different ways. And I've worked with parents who are visually impaired or blind and have sighted children or have blind children themselves. Also with parents who are sighted and find out that their children do have a vision problem. And so I've been on both sides of the fence. I think probably learning about children, and particularly your own child, is something that we never are prepared for totally. Many things can happen. When children are born and for example, premature, and now they know that oxygen does contribute to that. But if they start asking questions about some things that can happen after a child's so premature to physicians, I think that's a good start.
And what about for individuals who might be adults and older and they've been sighted for all of their lives? And I think we don't always want to admit maybe that we're having difficulties, but just in terms of having early detection and eye checkups and things that people might be looking for as they're older, even if they've had good vision, that might be signs that they're starting to lose some vision.
Yes, and that is often quite a alarm for people when they discover they're having some issues and they never thought it could be happening to them. I think that I've worked with people from all walks of this happening to them. When they go for a driving test and try to renew their license or even get a license for the first time, and they fail that test. And sometimes people think it's maybe they didn't study well enough, or they, something happened to distract them and they weren't able to think. Some people have a lot of anxiety about taking tests. And so they often, are a little bit caught off guard, and suddenly, they can start with those questions in their mind about the test itself. But sometimes it really is a vision problem, and they are really surprised, and then a lot of emotion sets in. I think anybody, whether you've been, sighted and have really good vision, it never hurts to get eye checkups. It's like anything else in our life, in our physical needs. You need to have your eyes checked, just like you have get checked up for your blood pressure or heart rate or anything else. Vision is critical, and sometimes people ignore that because they think they have really good vision. Maybe they have glasses and the glasses help them. So some of the things that start happening are, they're driving and they find they aren't seeing the signs, like the street signs, or the especially on highways. I've been told by sighted drivers that they're like, all of a sudden I couldn't see those signs until I got pretty close, and then I was really feeling like it was a dangerous situation. Sometimes people are walking and they can't seem to see an address someplace, or they're not really looking at the lights and to cross, and they can't see the little arrow to show them when to cross. Things like that start happening, and it's an alarm, and they need to, at that point, seek help.
And over the years, as you've worked with different people, what do you see as reactions? I think it's so individual and not all the same in terms of, I've known people who just, they want to keep doing what they've been doing, and they're going to figure it out, and they're going to get training and do whatever they need to do. And for other folks, it's really hard, and they really struggle. What have you seen in terms of emotional reactions with the people that you've worked with?
I have seen such a variety of emotions, and the way that people take in the information, or what they do when they feel that alarm go off about something happening with their vision. You're right. Some people say, oh my gosh, I'm not seeing well. I've got to figure this out. And they start looking for a physician to help them, or maybe they've been told by a physician that something is wrong, and they, from then on, decide that they're going to get help. Others are in such denial that they have been told by their physician, and there are lots of remedies to try to help save vision, and they're going to try all of those before they really think about the other outcome, which is, well, I can do medically everything possible, but what happens after the medical part doesn't work anymore and I end up losing most of my vision or all of it? And that happens sometimes with medical intervention. It depends on the eye condition. I think that if it's a progressive condition, like retinitis pigmentosa is progressive, glaucoma is quite the robber, and they do a lot of intervention with glaucoma. But I have known clients and people I've worked with and myself that glaucoma continues to rob. It doesn't go away, and it will continue to get whatever it's out for. And the thing about vision loss is it doesn't matter how old you are, who you are, what your economic status is, or what, what you do in life. It doesn't care. It's like any other disability. It has no discrimination to it. It'll come to anybody at any time. And it's powerful. And we have to find ways to conquer those barriers that this type of situation challenges us with.
Well, and I know that's part of what you do too, is helping with that social, emotional support of somebody who's losing vision, as well as some of other types of skills. But that's a part of what you do.
That's correct. Since I've been blind, or, left with very little residual vision since I was an infant, and I was very blessed to have the supports that I did with my education at the School for the Blind, and then through, of course, my parents were a great support to me. They never allowed me to use my vision as, a way to not accomplish what needed to be done. They never wanted me to use that as a crutch, and they didn't want it to paralyze me. And so they always encouraged me to push forward and do the very best I could. I am not one of these super blind people that have done many marvelous things and had a lot of huge opportunities. I haven't always been able to do a lot of things that were on my bucket list, but the things that I have accomplished, I hope that the most important part to me is that I've helped somebody else through my freedom of independence. So in 2008, after working in human services and doing many different jobs in that field, and being everything from a supervisor to clear down to when I was just a rookie and had to do whatever was needed to be done, I've learned a lot of independence and learned a lot about people in general. So after I decided to get my graduate degree and go into mental health, and my emphasis was grief and loss, and I wanted it to be around the loss of situations in people's lives that they can come back from, they can conquer, and it's not going to paralyze them forever. And there are ways of continuing quality of life. And so our losses take over sometimes. So I decided to start New Vision Professional Services with the emphasis on people who are grieving and what their loss is. So it started out with lots of different people, and then it just kind of went from really being geared toward the blind and visually impaired. But I still work with other people who have other barriers besides vision loss. But focusing on the vision loss has been a great success. And we do hope we're helping individuals, have quality of life and find a way to break down those barriers and conquer the fear, the isolation, and the anger are just a few of the emotions that go with that loss.
Well, and along those lines, Rebecca, if somebody has a diagnosis, whether it's macular degeneration or glaucoma or retinitis pigmentosa, what are some steps to take, like right away, once you get that diagnosis? I know it can be tempting to wait if your vision isn't, you're not losing vision rapidly, but what would you recommend to folks once you have that diagnosis of what steps they might take to prepare?
I think the first thing to, figure out is, what is the person needing at the moment? So there's a big difference in what a child might need if they're having difficulty in school, if they are having difficulty with peers, and it's because something's happening with their vision, and then you find out your child does have a vision loss. Seeking information is a little different than it is for the senior who's, 80 years old and is told, well, you do have macular and things look really, serious here. I don't know how long you'll be able to do certain things, certain tasks, or how long you'll be able to read print. And then the client says, well, I can't do it at all right now. And the physician says, oh, well, you better think about Braille, or you better think about what you're going to do. Physicians often have little information about what services are out there. They may have met somebody and they can give them information, but really physicians are really focused on medically what's happening. And they often forget about how to direct people toward some really concrete services that will, guide the person other than medically. So that's where we come in. I try to connect with lots of different physicians, give them information about what we do. And we're well known in the community. We're with the Better Business Bureau. They know about us. Other services, Department of Human Services, vocational rehab, and social workers. I've talked with them at hospitals, and we really try to connect so that they can then guide somebody when they figure out that the client or the person is seeking services or needs services. Maybe they're not looking for them, but the professional can say, I really believe this would help you.
Mm-hmm. And I know you're in the Colorado Springs area, but individuals could contact the Division of Vocational Rehab or other places in their area to find out about services locally to them. I know AfterSight tries to provide on our website, or to provide information if folks talk to us too about other types of resources like yours in different parts of the state.
Correct. We New Vision is able to actually, we've done services outside El Paso County. We work with folks in Teller County and Park County. Mm-hmm. And also I've done contracts in Pueblo. I've done contracts in other parts of southeastern Colorado. And then it's been a while, but I have also worked with some agencies in the Denver area, and I've done a contract with them. So I think it depends on what the person can do to, when they get a hold of somebody and they say, well, have you heard of this agency? And if that's not the agency they want to work with, they continue looking. Thank goodness we have the internet these days. Back in, the 90s and even clear back to when I was working with folks in the 80s, I mean, they had no way to really connect. And we're so blessed with such technology today that we can get on the computer and we can sort of find out. Now, for seniors who don't have the technology, and especially if they can't read their screens and don't have any technology to guide them, they're sort of in limbo. So that's where other professionals come in, social workers. That's why we try to connect with them. We have to be the ones to actually break down the barrier and give it to professionals so that they can get us the people, so that they can get people to come to us so we can continue to guide them and give them education around what their needs are.
That's so true. And there are ways now with technology, if people are able to use it and have internet access, even to do support groups and things virtually as well. So that's been helpful, especially the last few years since the pandemic.
Yeah, I think the pandemic taught us how to try to do that. All through the pandemic, we didn't lose any clients. And a lot of our clients don't have a way to do virtual. They don't have computers. And furthermore, some of them don't want them. So we have to meet them where they are. And the telephone was our connection to them. And we were in touch with some folks as often as every other day so that they knew that we're there if they need us. And they did, because some folks, grocery stores were limited as to how you could get groceries. Some services were not even available except virtually, and they were isolated and they couldn't do it. So we helped them we had volunteers, in fact, during the pandemic that would help order groceries for folks because a lot of them don't have phones that can do that. And so we had volunteers help them. We had our volunteers, over the phone, maybe helping them to fill out paperwork. If the volunteer could get the paperwork off the internet, and it was a person needing paratransit, and a paratransit was shut down for a while, but it did open up a little bit quicker than some services. But so a volunteer could fill that out over the phone, or I helped them, even fill stuff out by taking the answers down in the way I could take it down, and then I would call a volunteer and meet with them over the phone and help the client. So we found ways to connect with them during pandemic.
So I think that is one of the really important messages as we're nearing the end of this episode. It's just that folks should reach out. Like, that's so important to be able to reach out and find the help that one needs, and to not give up, because there are individuals like you who are willing to look at different modes of communication and what works for people, and that can be really important. We all get very wrapped up in technology and the latest thing, but sometimes folks really just need that phone call. So,
well, and I encourage folks to find services like you do any other shopping you do. You want to make sure it's a very legitimate situation, and that the person that you're getting services from is qualified to offer you what they're telling you, because you don't want to be misled. So that's the one thing. All of our staff have degrees and have had lots of education, and are background checked and everything. So we certainly want folks to find agencies that are the same way and that they're well known and that they are listed as a very stable and healthy agency to be with.
Very good advice. I think we're always having to do those checks and be on our guard with so many different things in our lives now. But certainly, if you're trying to connect and get assistance, you want somebody who is trained properly and, as you said, is background checked and all those types of things. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much. I know you're going to be joining us for our second session this month as well. But this has been great, just talking about some of the signs to look for, whether in children or as one is an adult or older adult, to look for and getting those regular checkups just for your eye health, to be able to identify if there is some vision loss or something. Maybe there are medical solutions, maybe it's just glasses, but sometimes it's something more, and looking at what options there are, dealing with any emotional or psychological things, just knowing that there's a whole range of emotions that people feel and everyone's different, and that's okay. But to reach out and be able to get the help that you need to get past that so you can continue to live a high quality life is so important. So our next segment next week, we'll continue on and we'll talk a little bit more in depth about things like orientation and mobility, guide dogs, other types of mobility aids, training, schools for the blind, other training programs, and then just the technology and daily living aids, because that really can range from something very simple and low tech to all the latest and greatest that we see out in the marketplace now. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you for listening. We hope this has provided you some information that will be helpful. Please subscribe to our podcasts. We always appreciate reviews, and follow us on social media. You can find out about everything that is going on at AfterSight through our social media, including our hike that is coming up, our 4th annual audio trekker hike that's coming up on July 27th. So be sure to check out our social media as well. And we hope the information you received today helps you to navigate your life with vision loss.